What's up, everyone? Jason and Matt here taking a look at some stacks for opening day. We got the three games out of the way here, and now we can finally break into a bigger slate. A lot of aces going tonight, but overall, we got a couple arms that we can really pick on.
Yeah, definitely like a couple teams here, and I'm really excited baseball startup. So let's get this going.
Yeah, first one here, we got Miami and Washington. Steven Strasburg taking on Edison Volquez. Obviously, you look at Miami, Strasburg has had his blowups in the past, but kind of hard to make a full-blown stack out of Miami here.
Yeah, Miami seems to hit the good pitchers really well and struggle against the bad ones. But Strauss at home and starting off the season, all the fans will be fired up. I just can't see Miami tomorrow.
No, I can't either. But Washington, on the other hand, you got a big front four there: Trey Turner, Daniel Murphy, Bryce Harper, and Rendon. And out of the starters, you look at Volquez, easily one of the weaker ones on the slate.
Yeah, Washington's one of my favorite stacks tomorrow. You can this whole lineup stack. You can even go down into Weeders. Any of these guys, you can figure out some of these guys are really cheap, but Washington's definitely one of my favorite stacks tomorrow.
Yeah, you look at Volquez, struggled against lefties last year, struggled against righties as well. Just a guy that you're really looking to target as far as one-offs and stacks. So, you look at Vegas, 4.5 run total. Hard not to kind of go that way. The only thing that I guess you can kind of argue is that they are an expensive stack.
Yeah, Murphy's 3,500, Harper's 4,500, but those guys can each put up a 20, 30 spot. You can't really go wrong with that.
No, you definitely can. So Washington, definitely one of the better stacks. Next one here, you got Atlanta and New York. Noah Syndergaard taking on Julio Teheran. Definitely not looking at Atlanta there.
No, I definitely don't want Atlanta, but I think I have a little bit of interest in the Mets.
I do too. I was kind of looking through the lineup. 6 or 7 lefties in that lineup, and you look at Teheran. This is a guy who has struggled on the road in the past. And also does struggle against lefties. He did pitch well against the Mets last year, but this is still a tough lineup to get through with all the lefties.
Yeah, you got Reyes there who can get on, and you have Neil Walker. You always throw Cespi in there, and you got Jay Bruce. This lineup has some power, and when Tehran's bad, sometimes he's bad,
Yeah, and obviously, if you're looking for contrarian, Mets are probably going to be one of the lower-owned ones.
Yeah, we're talking. Cespi will probably be higher owned, but nobody ever picks people like Neil Walker.
Yeah, Walker always flies under the radar. Bruce as well, just given he's so boomer bust. I'm excited to see Lucas Duda back in the lineup.
Yeah, that guy seems like he can never stay off the DL, man. I'm happy he's back. I like Lucas Duda. He's a good ball player.
Yeah, he is, and this is a guy. When he gets hot, can hit right-handed pitching really well.
Definitely.
So, Pittsburgh, Boston. I feel like this is kind of a tricky game to look at. Garrett Cole, Rick Porcello, two above-average right-handed arms, but they're not probably the elite ones on the slate, like a Syndergaard or Kershaw. I like McCutchen, Marte, but as far as the stack goes, I can't get excited about the guys around him.
No, Pittsburgh hitting is pretty good, but it's hard to stack these guys. Especially tomorrow. Porcello's, he won the Cy Young last year. He's still a good pitcher. But yeah, like you said, outside of McCutchen, I really, really, really like Marte. But outside of those two, I don't see me touching any of those guys.
No, I don't either. You basically, if you are looking for a stack, you can probably toss in Gregory Polanco, but Fenway, tough on lefty power. Look at Porcello is pretty good against lefties too.
Yeah, he's got those reverse splits. So Polanco's good and everything, but I'm not taking him.
As far as the Sox, Vegas projecting for over 5 runs. Look at Garrett Cole. What do you make of Garrett Cole this year? Do you think we're going to get anything great out of him, or is he just kind of going to be a little bit average?
Oh man, I do not like Garrett Cole. I don't think Garrett Cole is that great. He's not horrible, but I don't think he's that great. But at the same time, I don't know if I can stack the Red Sox tomorrow. We're going to get to a stack we really like later, but it's you could always go Mookie. JBJ is nice, and they have people like Bogarts, Pedroia. It seems like you can stack it up, but I don't even know if tomorrow's a day for that.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely is there potential here? Yeah. I do think they're always going to come in higher owned just because you look at the Sox offense last year. The best in baseball, arguably. So you look at that. The one bonus I actually like with David Ortiz out is now you're not forced to pick between him and Hamley.
Yes, that was huge. That was the worst thing ever because every time I picked Poppy, it was Hamley's night,
Yeah, it was vice versa every time.
Exactly.
So, Benintendi Pedroia on the cheaper side on FanDuel, so it's not that an expensive stack on FanDuel with
Yes.
the front four. DK, you're getting a little pricey though.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get to a stack we like more, but yeah, on DK, I won't touch him tomorrow.
Yeah, getting here, Colorado, Milwaukee, John Gray versus Junior Guerra. I mean, if we want to talk about upside here, even with Coors bats on the road, the upside's really, and we're looking at Miller Park. I mean, it's still one of the better hitting parks in baseball.
Yeah, I really like Colorado tomorrow. Arenado, huge fan of him. Blackman, Cargo, and then just whatever you want to do with that fourth guy. If you want to use their catcher and save some salary, or I'd probably go Story, LeMahieu, one of those two. And on DraftKings, you can go all five. But, I mean, good way to get that kind of exposure at cheaper prices. I mean, Arenado's not much cheaper, and neither is Blackman. But Cargo a little bit less, and LeMahieu's always cheap.
Yeah, LeMahieu, I mean, 4,300 on DK, only 3K on FanDuel.
Yeah, on FanDuel.
So, I mean, Story not as expensive as the other, higher priced bats too. I mean, you look at Guerra, I mean, looking at his numbers last year, coming off an above average season, still not the biggest believer that success is going to continue. And I'm looking at the hard ball rate to lefties. I mean, nearly 40% last year. So I'm kind of keen in on Blackman, as far as a one-off as well.
Yeah, and I feel like if Blackman gets on base, if he's not clearing the bases, he's going to swipe those bags too,
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who does it kind of all ways. What do you think about the Brewers? I mean, obviously you and I big John Gray fans, using plenty of John Gray tomorrow. Still some names here, but maybe not, the right day to stack.
Yeah, Milwaukee's offense is actually, I think, personally better than people think it is, but not against our boy. There's no way.
I mean, the strikeout rate's high. I like the upside of guys like VR and Broxton, and Ryan Braun's a little expensive for my taste, but I think there's going to be a right time to stack these guys, but probably not today.
Yeah, that team's definitely good, and I mean, I could even talk myself into getting a VR because he just needs a walk. He can steal second and third, and he's already done his job for the day.
Yeah, and not at a bad price tag either.
No, definitely not.
Toronto, Baltimore, Kevin Gausman take on Marco Estrada in Camden Yards. This one, I mean, relatively high Vegas total. We'll take a look at the Blue Jays first. I mean, Gausman's a guy hit or miss against right-handed bats. He's reverse splits, and we're looking at a pretty heavy Toronto lineup. I mean, I like him, but I also see that Gausman, I mean, pretty good at home, and this is a guy who does have the stuff to make guys miss.
Yeah, I mean, this game just seems like, Toronto, Baltimore, let's double stack it and just watch us fly up the leaderboards. But I don't think that's the case tomorrow. I mean, I really like Gausman. I think he's a good pitcher, but I can understand if you want to stack Toronto. I mean, he's gonna give up some hits, and if he's missing, he's gonna give up a lot of runs. But I'm really interested in what you think about Baltimore tomorrow.
Baltimore, I mean, I want to stack, but I feel like they're just kind of one of those teams where I'm just looking to use maybe some one-offs from.
Yeah, I mean, Estrada is so hit or miss, but like people like Machado, I mean, Machado's he's expensive, but if you're looking at other options, you just keep going, why don't I just pay up for Machado? Why don't I just pay up for Arenado? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like on FanDuel, I mean, the difference is we were, talking and looking at Justin Turner, 3,500. You do have guys like Machado and Arenado who are only 300, 400 more.
Yeah, and I mean, Justin Turner's a good bat, but he doesn't offer the upside that those guys do,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking to maybe get some one-offs. I mean, I don't mind using guys like Adam Jones and Mark Trumbo. I might be staying away from guys like Chris Davis, Kim, and probably the platoon guys like Seth Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going for Chris Davis is a pretty big name, but I mean, I'm going Machado, like you said, Jones. I don't even know if I'm touching Trumbo tomorrow. Just kind of staying away from this game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those ones where it's just going to be a bit of a wild card and not a lot of blow-ups.
It just seems like those games are always, 9-8, 8-7, whatever. But it just seems like tomorrow's going to be 3-2, and a bunch of sack flies or RBI. It just doesn't seem like a game I want.
Yeah, it definitely has that potential. Kansas City, Minnesota. This one, you and I have been on this topic all week. Basically, is Duffy's got the strikeout upside, but the dude can let some fly balls go, and home runs could be at a premium here for some of these right-handed Twins bats.
Yeah, he struggles a lot against righties, and the Twins, that's what they have to offer. I mean, Dozier, you can't go wrong with him. He's really cheap on FanDuel tomorrow. Sano is extremely cheap tomorrow. Plug that in with a couple other guys, and you have a really contrarian stack because people are going to remember Duffy for how good he is. And I love Danny Duffy, and I know you like Danny Duffy, but tomorrow might be the day to actually stack against him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here, and you look at Duffy. I mean, allowed 325 WOBA to right-handers last year, which average, but 1.57 home runs per nine. I mean, you look at all those power guys like Dozier. I mean, Buxton even had some power late in the year last year. Sano, Robbie Grossman. If you can get around the strikeout rates and obviously their boomer bust plays, I mean, contrarian and also huge upside for cheap prices.
Yeah, I mean that team is the ultimate one run or they could put a 12 spot up on. I mean, it's really hard to do against Duffy, but Duffy's going to be a guy I'm looking at in tournaments too because people will be on him, but I'm going to have my Duffy and I'm going to have my Minnesota stack. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in with you. And on the Royals, they're never really a big stacking team just because the upside really lacks.
No, you can't stack them. It's just a whole they just play good baseball, not good fantasy baseball,
Yeah. Detroit, Chicago, next one here. Weather concerns in this one, but looking at it as if it plays, both these teams really not stackable at all.
No, I'm totally staying away from this game. I don't see where I'd go with anywhere. I mean, even pitching wise, like Quintana's nice, but 100 times out of 100, I'm going down to Gray. And with Verlander's got some good stuff, but I mean, at that point, why wouldn't I just go to Kershaw?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So, I mean, looking at those guys, I think one with the weather concerns. I know we got the late swap now, but it's just not screaming a high offensive game.
No, I definitely don't like that game.
So, Dodgers Padres next year. Clayton Kershaw versus Julio Chacin. And this one, I mean, we'll skip over the Padres here. Dodgers side of things, though, I mean, probably the best points per dollar stack on the board.
Yeah, on both sites. I mean, you got some guys really cheap on DraftKings too, but on FanDuel you can only get four of them, and the problem is I don't know which four I want. I mean, love Seager, love Agon, and then I got to decide. Grandal looks great too, but do I want Jock? Do I want Turner? Do I want Tolles, who's dirt cheap? He's the minimum.
Yeah, I mean, 2K on FanDuel, possibly leading off tomorrow, 2.9 on DK. I mean, yeah, I don't even think batting order is going to decide his ownership. I think he's going to be one of the highest on the board tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if he's leading off and he's 2K, just plug him in your cash lineups. I mean, geez, I mean that's crazy to think, but I mean 2K in a game that they're going to score a bunch of runs.
Yeah, and I mean, we look at Chacin. I mean, has struggled against lefties. 327 WOBA last year, 35% hard ball rate. So I mean, a little bit tougher on right-handed bats, but I mean, the way Turner hits, obviously, I like his value more on DK at 3,500.
Yeah, definitely 3,500 on DK is a lot better than 3,500 on FanDuel. But yeah, outside of righties for him, I mean, if Tolles leads off, I'll put him up there. If he's in the bottom of the lineup and I'm stacking, I'll probably leave him off and just take the lefties and Turner. But if he's at the top of the lineup, I'll have him in my stack.
Yeah, I definitely will too. I mean, big time salary relief. And obviously, once again, no on the Padres side.
No, definitely. Speaking of no-nos, Kershaw might throw a no-no.
Yeah. Philly and Reds next one here. Scott Feldman, Jeremy Hellickson in Great American Ballpark. So I mean, good spot for these guys. Phillies, I like the matchup here. I like it more than I do actually the Reds matchup. But as far as upside goes, the home run potential. I mean, it could be there, it could not. I don't know what to make of a Philly stack. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I like Herrera as a one-off, and I like Franco a lot, especially on FanDuel at 2,900. But, I mean, I'm not going to two-man it. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to four-man it. And Caesar, what are you going to get on Caesar,
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to go 3-4-5 with Herrera, Franco, Sanders. I mean, I don't mind that. But outside of that, though, I mean, it's kind of tough to use those other guys as far as upside is concerned.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the other guys, but I do like a couple guys on Cincy.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about them. Joey Votto, expensive, but I mean, he's a guy you're having a tough time getting away from.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because he's in such a good spot tomorrow. But then I look and I got guys like Agon at 2,800, and it's like, how can I not take Agon against Chachin? Like, you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I mean, I look about really good spot. The guys around him, I mean, Peraza, Billy Hamilton, big stolen base upside. I mean, if they get on, they're running.
Yeah, no, I like Schebler tomorrow too.
Schiller's got some good power. So, I mean, maybe the Reds are probably more one-offs than an actual stack.
Yeah, I think they're a bunch of one-offs.
So, as far as stack goes, I mean, who are you looking as far as the top? Just overall.
Overall stack, Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Dodgers, as far as just the price concern, the matchup concern, everything kind of works out. And then maybe Colorado a close second for upside.
Yeah, I like Colorado a lot, and I really do like Washington.
Yeah, Washington's good a lot, and I think your contrarian moves obviously with Minnesota.
Yep, definitely.
So I was going to round up the stacks for us here. You can check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all the great tools and content.